Welcome to the Official Personality Guru. When ENTJs experience grief, they tend to appear much calmer on the outside than they really feel inside. They try to present a composed, in-control face to the world, while inside the turmoil they feel is usually very overwhelming. To handle their suppressed feelings, they may try to problem solve, take charge, or fix things in their outer world. They often try to apply logic to the situation and inevitably feel betrayed when this doesn't work. They can become impatient with their own emotions and the emotions of people around them. They may suddenly find themselves crying or upset out of nowhere and have difficulty even knowing why they're crying because they've suppressed their emotions for so long. If despair or stress is chronic, ENTJs may fall into an uncharacteristically emotional, introspective state. They can become very withdrawn from people and lose sight of their normal, in-charge, always logical mindset. They may feel that everyone is against them or that nobody truly supports them. It is important for loved ones to give them space, but to also use acts of service to prove that they care. When they are ready to talk, they need someone who can let them vent without judging them or trying to rationalize their feelings. Today, let's talk about how the ENTJ copes with the many forms of loss. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to the Official Personality Guru and ring the bell icon to get regular updates on our latest uploads. And if you like this video, click the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Loss is never really enjoyable to endure, even for those who can cope well with it. Having to deal with losing something or someone can be one of the most painful experiences. There are many different kinds of losses we can experience in life. Sometimes, this is death, and other times, it is simply a change that forces us to lose something meaningful. Whether it be a small loss or something major, experiencing letting go of something so important to you can be truly painful, and for some, it is overwhelming. Each person has their way of processing these feelings. For some, the idea of letting go hits them much harder, and for others, it is something they seem to handle much better. For ENTJs, loss and emotional situations can be somewhat difficult to process fully. While they are logical people who focus on getting things done and being as efficient as possible, that doesn't describe what goes on internally. They can be great at putting on a strong face to the world, and they do find it more natural to focus on practical responses. That doesn't mean ENTJs enjoy change or are good at handling the emotions in which come from losing something or someone dear to them. ENTJs don't find it easy to let go once they have made a serious connection, and so actually coping with loss is not the smoothest transition for them. Accepting loss. ENTJs are good at accepting the practical and logical aspects of something, even when it comes to lose. They won't pretend like something didn't happen and can logically see the reason behind things. They're good at accepting that the loss has occurred and know that they need to find ways of moving forward. They often focus on practical and everyday solutions and will figure out what they need to do to keep things working properly in their lives. ENTJs don't believe in allowing emotions to prevent them from living their lives, and so they don't want any kind of loss to hold them back in life. While they might feel the loss deeply, the ENTJ likely won't show this on the surface. Instead, they try to continue with their lives. And if a problem arises from this loss, they simply work out the most strategic ways to solve this. For the ENTJ, it isn't that they don't care, they just find it easier to focus on what is logical and factual. When something happens, the ENTJ wants to figure out the smartest way to navigate this situation, since dealing with emotions just isn't easy for them. They don't understand feelings since they don't have proven answers and don't always make complete logical sense. Feelings and not facts, and so the ENTJ tends to avoid focusing on them because of this. For the ENTJ, accepting the reality of the loss is not challenging, but accepting their emotional aftermath is. They don't know how to dive into these inner feelings, and so they often ignore them completely. They try to push aside the negative emotions they are feeling and experiencing, in hopes of focusing on things they can get done and solve. This can cause the ENTJ to appear cold, or like they don't feel emotions the same as others. But this is not true at all. ENTJs do experience the same pain that others do when they lose someone important. They just don't show it outwardly the way that some people might. ENTJs appear rather focused and tend to hide those feelings, but that doesn't mean there isn't a storm brewing inside of them. Their process. The initial response for the ENTJ is often to try and focus on the practical things which need to be done. They're naturals at taking charge, and so they often try to work out what needs to be taken care of. They will appear to go into work mode and won't be focused on the emotions surrounding the situation. Whether they lost someone they love, have ended a relationship, or simply have to let go of an important part of their lives, ENTJs are almost always going to focus on the most logical next step. They might keep busy by burying themselves in work, since this is something that brings them comfort and a sense of control. When the ENTJ feels like they have lost control because of this loss, they need to find things that they can take charge of and get done efficiently. This helps them to remain grounded and feel less like they are going to fall apart emotionally. ENTJs can bury their feelings for a long period, and often struggle to express them to others. This doesn't mean they are incapable of letting those emotions out or venting about them. They just need to find people they can trust. ENTJs often don't easily feel safe expressing their emotions, as they can easily feel like someone is judging them for it. They usually see emotions like this as a weakness, and they don't want people to look at them as weak or incapable. The ENTJ needs to find people who are supportive and who don't feel the need to make them feel judged because they are hurting. They also don't want to be smothered with sympathy, as this can make it worse. What are the other things that you can add on how the ENTJ copes with the many forms of losses? Be sure to watch until the end and share your experience for a chance to have your comment pinned. Moving on. Moving on is often natural for the ENTJ, even when their loss is great. They know how to continue moving forward since their minds instantly go towards how to solve their problems. Being natural problem solvers and leaders makes the ENTJ good in a crisis, allowing emotions to prevent them from doing what they must. And so, they can move on when something happens or when they lose something important. The ENTJ does struggle to completely let go, since they might hold onto the emotions without meaning to. The longer they go without processing those inner feelings, the more the ENTJ can feel these things building up. Hit the reset button. Recently, my life seems to have been full of false starts. Plans were made that had to be cancelled, important decisions that got put on hold, projects that never came to fruition. As an ENTJ, this lack of control has affected me greatly, even though I've struggled to admit it. I've been irritable, teary, and outright angry at times. I got used to the familiar sinking feeling when a plan I thought was solid ends up in failure. The thing that helped me regain a sense of control was to hit the reset button. I forgot about my previous plans and my original goals for the year. Instead, I drew up a new set of plans that were much smaller. I began focusing on simple, manageable actions. I decided to forget about next year or next month and just take every single day at a time. It sounds like a cliche, but it helped me hugely. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give us a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the Official Personality Guru for more amazing videos. Don't forget to ring the bell icon to stay updated with our content. Select small goals. For me, setting smaller goals means drawing up weekly plans with a set of weekly goals. I work on trying to achieve those goals only and not thinking about the long term. Crucially, these new goals do not require any outside action or input. They are all things I can control. I divide my goals into categories: work, personal, and social. By dividing up my time in this way, I give myself the feeling of having control over all aspects of my life. Work is an obvious one. For the personal category, I focus on specific skills like learning a language, practicing an instrument, or trying a new craft. For my social goals, I focus on keeping in contact with the people in my life who mean the most. I may set a goal to write a letter to a childhood friend, video call my family, or message a different friend every other day. These small goals are positive, easy to achieve, and help me remember all the love and support I have in my life too. Turn your energy into valuable action. When stressful events happen, the body kicks into a fight or flight response. This leads to be built up energy that can be difficult to handle. You might find yourself spending more time doom scrolling or watching the news, being angrier than usual, and avoiding things you used to enjoy, all of which leave you feeling restless or on edge. These are all common signs of underlying stress and anxiety for an ENTJ, and you've probably experienced them at some point in recent months. To cope with anxious energy, it can be helpful to try and do something constructive instead. Try to focus your energy and take action. This will look different for everyone as it needs to be in keeping with your values.